Turn my hat around so you can see me here. The first point is that we have a right to speak. We have a right to redress the government of our grievances. You know, we're not doing anything wrong. No, we have a First Amendment right, freedom of religion. We don't have to apologize for our religion. You don't have to apologize for your religion. We have a right of free speech, and you better use it. The Founding Fathers came out from underneath the boots of the kings of England, and they didn't want a constitution unless it had these Bill of Rights. Let's learn this. Let's do it. Why are we here? We're here because of Fatherless Day. A couple more days is Father's Day. You know, God says children are like arrows in the hands of mighty men. Happy is the man whose quiver is full of them. This is supposed to be a happy time, but it's been turned around to be a sad time. And so the question is, why? Why did that happen? You know, what's happening? You know, I've got some solutions here I'll get to real quick, but the solutions are meaningless unless you define the problem. You have to define your enemies. You have to define your terms. We've got to understand what's going on. What's going on is eugenics. You need to write down the word eugenics, and you need to go Google it on the internet, go to YouTube, and listen and understand. You know, when you go to these courts and you think, well, the judge simply doesn't understand. You know, he's just some stupid bellicose guy with spit dripping out of the side of his mouth. He doesn't realize what's going on. I should go share with him so he understands. No, you don't understand. And then when you go meet with these politicians, which is what we should be doing today, we should have called our local representatives, said we're going to be in town, we'd like to get together with you. It's called a day on the Hill. That's what a lot of the advocacy groups do. You know, we go meet with these politicians. They don't know anything. They didn't know that you guys are getting ripped off in court. They didn't know that there was 25 million guys and females, few females, getting ripped off in court, and grandparents getting ripped off. They didn't know. So we should just go give them a big hug, you know, and kind of bring them up to speed. That's ridiculous. They know exactly what's going on. This is a eugenics court. It's supposed to be a family court. You don't take away our rights. You know, we'd really like to give you a jury, but you know, there's just so many cases, and we'd like to have, you know, rules of evidence, but you know, we'll just call this a court of equity. A court of what? You know, I'm an American citizen, man. You know what I mean? I have civil rights. I have constitutional rights. And I don't accept anything less than that. And we're not just going to sweep it away because there's too many cases or it's too crowded or it's inconvenient. This court was not created to help. The eugenic court sterilized 500,000 people in this country from the 1920s to the 1960s. Go look it up and say, what does that got to do with America? What's going on? And then they change the name, which they always do, and they always give it a good name. Whenever the nicer the name, the worse they are. Well, let's call it family court. Let's call it best interests of children. Oh, you're kidding, right? You know, and the judges say, well, I'm concerned about the best interests of children. That is, you know, tell that to some drooling idiot. Don't tell that to me. You know, this man just quoted all these statistics about how messed up these kids are, how many of them end up in jail and prisons. They know that, and I don't mind reminding them. I'll tell them in a heartbeat. You know, don't let me in a senator or politician's office, because I'll rattle those statistics like I don't want to use any charged words around here. It might scare somebody, but the idea is that, you know, I'll rattle them off very, very quickly, those statistics. But the fact of the matter is it's a eugenics court. It's an improper court. It's not even a legal court. You know, you're supposed to have equal protection in the law. You know, last time I checked, there's 30 days in a month. How is it you get 4 and she gets 26? What on earth, man? Hey, let's do some math here. You know, well, we call it every other weekend. Again, nice words. It's not right. So let's not be drones here. Let's not look at the short term. You know, guys come to me. I work with fathers' rights groups all around the world. Met with Matt O'Connor over in Europe and all across this country. You know, and I start talking to guys, and they come in and they say, oh, my ex. I'm like, what is your ex? 10 feet tall? I mean, she got twigs growing out of her chest. I mean, who is this ex you're talking about? You know, is she that good? She's not that good, man. It's not your ex that is the enemy. She's just the one who decided to feed your kids into the, you know, altars of Moloch, make a couple dollars every month. She doesn't care about the children. You know, but it wasn't your ex that did this to you. What? It's her attorney. He's just so smart, you know, and he's just so good. No, it's bigger than that attorney. You know, it's those evil judges. No, these are all these are leaves. We're trimming leaves, man. You got to understand there's an entire eugenics operation out there. You know, Lenin said, you can't destroy the country till you destroy the family. They're trying to destroy the family. I mean, Julius Caesar, when he conquered the Germans, you know, he broke apart the family structure. He didn't want those Germans rising up again and starting an air war. You know, you break the family structure down. It's not by accident, it's by design. You're fighting the wrong battle. You're shadow boxing if you don't understand the enemy. You don't understand the nature of the battle. It's a eugenics court. Look it up. Now, you go all the way back to England, they started this stuff, and they started trying to tear apart the family and so forth. You go back to Mondale, what was that, like in 1976, 1974, whatever. He started putting prices on children. Pay the child care workers. If they find a child, they get paid $4,000 for every child they take out of someone's custody and feed them into the system. We got bounties on these kids? I mean, you go look on the internet and you see pictures of kids. Oh, I'll take the chubby one. And you make money selling children through child services. Kid gets a bump on his knee, goes to the nurse's office, mandatory reporters. They get fed in the system. Do you understand? There's a machine. I work with guys just go walking like Don Quixote into this courtroom. I mean, this is a doggone meat grinding factory, man. As soon as you step in that courtroom, you're in la la land, man. There's no rules of evidence. You bring 16 witnesses in the courtroom. The judge says, we're really busy today. Can you bring them back later? They have no concern for law. They have no concern for doing right. What they have concern for is 666. Does anybody know what 666 is? U.S. Code 42, Title 4D, subsection 666. This is a money machine. This state's making $100 million a year on the backs of you guys. You understand that your child is cattle. It's money. You know what I mean? If they split the house in half and divide it evenly and the government's not involved, they don't make no money. So they got to take the money away from the dad and make the dad into the slave. It's okay to make dads into the slave. That's okay. It doesn't really bother you. Every now and then a girl will get thrown on the bus, but primarily the dads. Send them to work. It is a money-making operation. It's the U.S. Code 42. Look it up on the internet. You know what I mean? Until they shut the internet down, you can look at these things up. I mean, we've got to reset our mind and understand that we walk in that courtroom, we're fighting a Goliath. We got to understand that we've got to super win our cases. And the guys are talking about pro se because the lawyers. Now someone said there's a good lawyer here somewhere. He's gone now? Okay, well, that's it. No more good lawyer. But the idea is that, most of these guys, they're not sincere. You're just a dollar bill to them. They sit in the courtroom for 3 days debating about what a kindergarten is. And you sit back and say, oh, these guys are really stupid. They don't understand what a kindergarten is. No, they know exactly what a kindergarten is. And they understand they're making billing time. And you say, well, the judge, he doesn't see this. The judge? I'm sorry, who's the number one contributor to judges' campaigns? That would be the lawyers. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't understand it, if you're just trotting along, with your papers and you don't understand the real undercurrent of this thing, you're going to get run over like a doggone Mack truck. And I'm not saying opt out the system, but I'm saying understand the nature of the animal that you're going up against. And so I see a lot of collusion in terms of the overall government. I see the finances behind it. I see the government funding. I see $100 million in government subsidies. If you just yanked that cord right there, this whole thing would fall. If you took the money incentive out, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. There's always a money train. Follow the money. And so the bottom line is that, God says you can't destroy a man's house until you bind up the strong man. This country is being disarticulated because the strong man, and in some cases the ladies, are being dragged out of the homes, and the grandparents are being taken out of the family picture and so forth, and the whole thing's breaking down. But it's not by accident. So the bottom line is that let's get a better picture of what's going on. What on earth does eugenics mean? What are these people doing? Before we go into the solution phase. Solution phase. The gentleman here from CRC, which I know your guy from DC very well. It's like a grandpa to me, And the idea is that you got to get involved politically. People call me and say, oh, Tony, I need to take an hour and a half of your time. I said, dude, I'll talk to you this time, but I will not talk to you next time until you tell me 4 things. Who is your state congressman? Who is your state senator? Who's your state representative? I mean, you got 4 guys that are getting paid to take care of you. You're paying their salary. You better know their doggone name, or don't call me again. You know what I mean? And further, you need to call their office and say, I need to stop by and talk to you. Well, he's really busy. Well, when is he going to not be busy? You know what I mean? Well, in about 2 months. Well, you know what? I'll be there in 2 months. You know what I mean? You stand in front of his desk and don't say anything stupid or threatening or some apish nonsense. But you go and you get involved. And he has a town meeting. You're there. So the bottom line is that get involved politically. Engage the political machine. So I appreciate all your efforts. I wish you guys the best. Let's fight this thing on the top. Let's fight it on the bottom. Let's fight it from top down, bottom up. God bless you. My website is CaptainTonyTaylor.com.